Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Anis Nazira binti Wak Nashim. My metric number is A22A1170. 1.0 Data Description. This study focused on using IBM SPSS software to analyze a secondary data set of child car seat from 400 stores, comprising 150 observations. The chosen quantitative variable, which is sale, income, and price. They are explored through numerical measure, graphical representation, and statistical analysis with consideration for potential out-of-date issues in secondary data. This is 150 observation data. Number one is sale. Number two is income. This is 150 observation data. Number three is price. Number four is shell versus log. 2.0 Sampling data and record. From the 400 observation for the data set of a child car seat, we randomly selected 150 observation. To get 150 random observation, we use the sampling of the lowest last two digit of the metric number found in our group member, which is Nur Amira binti Daud, uh, A22A1112, which is the digit 12. After that, we add a number 12 to 150, which is equal to 162. For numerical data, we have sale group. For income group, it is a numerical data. Price group is also numerical data for this assignment. As you can see, this is a chef group, which is categorical data for secondary data.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Nurdiba binti Azman, metric number A22A1174. I will present about numerical descriptive measures. Firstly, measure of central tendencies, which is a single value that represents a center of distribution. So there are three most commonly used measures of the tendency of grouped and ungrouped data, which is mean, median, and mode. Mean is the sum of the value of each observation in the data set divided by the number of observations. So in this assignment, mean of sales is 7.57, mean for income is 71.87, and price is 114.10. Next is median, defined as the value that lies in the middle of the data when the data set is ordered or has been rearranged. So the median for sales is 7.03, median of income is 74.57, and price is 14.78. The third one is mode, which is mean the data entry that occurs with the greatest frequency. So mode for sales is 6.97, income is 87.22, and mode for price is 114.96. Next is measures of position, where we will find the interquartile range. So the first step is find the location of quarter 1 and quarter 3. From the data, location of quarter 1 is 37.50 and quarter 3 is 112.50. Then step 2 is to find the value of quarter 1 and quarter 3 using a formula, and the last step is to get into quarter range, which is quarter 3 minus quarter 1. So for the sales, we get 6.13, income is 41.75, and price is 4.38. Lastly is measures of variation, which is some parameters that attempt to describe the amount of variation between random variables. So the three parameters that are used to quantify the amount of variation is a set of random variables are range, variance, and standard deviation. So range is the difference between the maximum and minimum data entries in the set. Range for sale is 1381.77, income is 118253.84, and price is 523557.64. Next is variance that been calculated using the formula shown in the slide. And so variance for sale is 37.17, income is 343.88, and thus its price is 723.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Shashabla binti Karim Musamir. My matric number is 822A1279. I will present about numerical descriptive measure. First, histogram. So this is the histogram. From the histogram, we can see that the highest cell level is between 7.00 to 8.74 because it is the highest frequency compared with other classes, which is 33. The lowest cell level is between 0.00 to 1.74 because it is the lowest frequency compared with other classes, which is 4. Next is the bar chart. So this is the bar chart. From the bar chart, we can see that the highest income for each class is between 82.95 to 95.33 because it is the highest frequency compared with other classes, which is 27. The lowest income for each class is between 21.00 to 33.38, 33.39 to 45.77, 45.78 to 58.16, and 107.73 to 120.11 because it is the lowest frequency compared with other classes, which is 15. Next is the pie chart. So this is the pie chart. From the pie chart, we can see the slice of percentage for class interval 24.00 to 44.88 and 44.89 to 65.77 is the smallest from others because that class has the lowest frequency, which is 0.67% compared with other classes. The slice of percentage for class interval 107.56 to 128.44 is the biggest from other because the class is the highest frequency compared with other classes, which is 36.37%.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Umi Rashida binti Ishaq, nomometri A22A1255. So today I want to present about the SSPS. So based on the numerical descriptive measure result, there are few answers that same between SSPS answer and manual calculation answer. It is because calculation using SSPS is more accurate compared to manual calculation. SSPS calculation include decimal points compared to manual calculation, which is we already found it, round it up to the decimal points. Next, graph of sales. The x-axis in the graph above represents the midpoint and the y-axis represents the frequency. To get the midpoint answer, the midpoint must calculate the lower and upper boundaries of each class. Each midpoint must be compared to the frequency of each class after being calculated. The overall frequency must equal the sample size of the data collection, which is 150. Next, the graph of income. In the graph above, the x-axis shows the midpoint while the y-axis depicts the frequency. The midpoint must determine the lower and upper bounds for each class to obtain the midpoint response. After being determined, each midpoint must be compared to the frequency of each class. The total frequency in the data set must equal in sample size of 150. Next, the pie chart of price. The above pie chart shows that each color represents a percentage for a class interval, ranging from the smallest percentage for each class interval, with the lowest frequency to the largest percentage for each class interval with the highest frequency. Next, using the t-test. So there are various categories under a file such as sales, income, and price. The DF for all categories remains unchanged at 149. The test for sales is 31.513, and while the mean difference is 7.51713, and the confidence interval of the difference follower is 7.0458, and for upper is 7.9885. For the income group, the test is 32 and 7.9, while the mean difference is 72.8187. For the price group is 61 and 0.891. So The confidence interval at the difference for the lower is 109 and 86, and for the upper is 117.10.
Hi, my name is Nur Amira Daud. My metric number is A22A1112. Statistical analysis using SPSS. T-test for pair 1. In hypothesis testing, we compare the null hypothesis HO and the alternative hypothesis HA. The null hypothesis states that the population means of three groups are equal, while the alternative hypothesis states that at least one of the group means is different. Next, we determine the level of significance denoted by A. In this case, A is set to 0.05, which means we are willing to accept a 5% chance of rejecting the null hypothesis. To test the null hypothesis, we use a t-test. The t-test calculates a test statistic t, which measures the difference between the sample means and the hypothesis population means. After calculating the t-value, we compare it with the critical value. In this case, with a significance level of 0.05, the critical value is 1.96. In this case, since the absolute value of the calculated t-value 31.513 is a greater than critical value, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. This is candidate that there is not enough evidence to suggest a significant difference between the one sample means. T-test for pair 2 and 3. In hypothesis testing, we start by stating the null hypothesis HO and the alternative hypothesis HA. The null hypothesis states that the population means of three groups and are equal. Or the alternative hypothesis states that at least one of the group mean is different. Next, we determine the level of significance denoted by A. In this case, A is set to 0.05, which means we are willing to accept a 5% chance of rejecting the null hypothesis. To test the null hypothesis, we use a t-test. The t-test calculates a test statistic t, which measures the difference between the sample means and the hypothesized population means. After calculate the t-value, we compare it with the critical value. In this case, with a significance level of 0.05, the critical value is 1.96. In this case, since the absolute value of the calculated t-value 1.891, which must greater than the critical value, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. This indicates that there is not enough evidence to suggest a significant difference between the one sample means.
Next, from the ANOVA table shows that F calculated equal to 1.059. Step 2, F critical equal to FA alpha K minus 1 N minus K equal to F 0.05 V1 70 V2 79 equal to 1.402. Since 1.59 is lesser than FA, K minus 1 N minus K equal to F 0.05 and 70 and 79. So we fail to reject HO. Therefore, there is no significant difference among the group means.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Siti Nur Yasmin binti Muhammad Zawi, A22B10AC. So I will continue the presentation. For correlation analysis, we can see that in the scatter plot matrix, graph 1 plots income against sales. Generally, the more the income, the higher the value of the sales of the child car 6. There is a weak positive correlation between sales and income. Then in graph 2 plots income against price, it is seen that the higher the price, there is a weak positive correlation between the higher the price of car seat child. While for graph 3 plots sales and income, there is a strong positive correlation between sales and income. The R value between sales and income is 0.234 and price and income is 0.142, both less than 0.3. Thus, income is not associated with both and
with both price and income. The R value between the price and sales is negative 0.388, which is less than 0.85. Perhaps there is no problem with multicollinearity. Next, for the confidence interval, it is referring to evaluating the interval of statistic containing a population parameter. By using the SPSS, we collect the results of the 95% confidence interval for income lower boundaries 0.004 and the upper boundaries 0.036. The standard error for this dependent is 0.08. Besides that, it can be said that 95% confidence that the income parameter is between 0.004 and 0.036. Okay, so for prediction modeling, we can see that in the SPSS, the Shapiro Wilk test of normality on the cells give a p-value of 0.01, which is less than 0.05. Thus, the assumption of normality of the terms of the cell is not made. In the model summary, the R-square value is 0.183, which means 18.3% of the variation in the sales group can be explained by the income group and price group. For the ANOVA, the p-value from the ANOVA table is 0.01, which is less than 0.05. Therefore, at least one of the two variables income group and price group can be used to model sales of the chai car seats. So that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you so much.
Concluding remarks. The description of shelving group, the median group has the highest percentage at 54%, followed by the good group at 23.33% and the bad group at 22.67%. This means that the median shelving group is the most common, while the bad and good group are the less common. The income data was analyzed manually, resulting in a mean of 71.87, median of 74.57, and mode of 87.22. However, when using SPSS, there was a minor variation in the result, with a mean of 72.90, median of 73.50, and mode of 69A.